And part of that awards luncheon, we honor the workforce professionals of the year. We honor those that contribute significantly to the workforce development profession and who emulate the go-to-where-the-need-is leadership and innovation that the late Charlie Brown embodied. How many in this room knew Charlie personally? So there's a bunch of us out there still. Well, you'll know that Charlie always paid attention not to himself, but to the needs of others. And the legacy that Charlie laid out lives on in his region and will be exemplified by today's award winners. I do think, since I know Charlie very well, he would be very, very proud of this award. At this time, we are going to present the Charlie Brown Workforce Professional of the Year. And it's fitting this year that the award doesn't go to individuals, but to organizations. This is a departure from the norm, because these organizations fully exemplify the work that workforce development organizations and professionals do day in and day out. Yesterday I talked a lot about changing the world, and these two organizations are doing everything they can to make sure that the world that was turned upside down is right-sided back up in thousands of people's lives. So this year, the award will go to two organizations that are serving the communities of Paradise and the surrounding communities of Butte County who were devastated by California's worst ever fire. In fact, I was doing some digging. This is the worst natural disaster, the worst wildfire since 1911 in our country's history.
Wow.
Among the many who lost their homes and businesses around Paradise was Charlie Brown's widow. And many of the members of the NORTEC and the Alliance staff also experienced the deep loss of their homes and their families' homes and their businesses. It should be mentioned that our registration team, Lexi and Alan, had their business Active Events in downtown Paradise, had their homes in Paradise, and they too also lost everything they owned that morning in November of last year. I have to say, we all saw the pictures in the news. The fire burned for 17 days. We saw the devastating pictures. But about 6 weeks ago, I got a chance to go up and meet with Michael Cross and Tracy Holt and tour the damaged areas. And I was devastated by what I saw so many months after the fire. I couldn't believe looking at shopping centers where you had Safeway and other big retailers burnt to the ground, a huge hospital halfway burnt to the ground, schools gone, whole communities just leveled. When I was up there, and I think still today, there's still no potable drinking water. Electricity is hard to come by. Gas is hard to come by. The creature comforts of our everyday lives are just not there any longer. There was 26,000 people in a city that burnt to the ground. But the good news is there's organizations like these. After the campfire, the organizations, the Northern Rural and Training Employment Consortium, I've always had to look at that because I just like saying NORTEC, and the Alliance for Workforce Development jumped to work. They set up dedicated sites in Chico and Oroville to assist those that have been affected. And as their website says, our team is ready to help. And I will tell you, in times of emergencies like this, it's not just about helping people find work that we do. It's about what I said yesterday, saving lives, getting shelter, finding food, clothing, and the necessities that we need as human beings. So I think it's best if I just ask Michael Cross and Tracy Holt to come up on stage and share a little bit more about your organization's story and the work that your staff has done to help that community recover. Give it up for Michael Cross and Tracy Moore.
Thank you, Bob. I just have to say a couple of things. As Bob said, I think it's really hard, I think for all of us, even those of us who lived through it, to wrap your brains around an entire community being wiped out all at the same time. So what that meant was virtually everybody that we saw come into our centers, we went out and saw it in evacuation centers. Every one of them not only had lost their business or their job, but they'd also lost their home, their kids' schools, their churches, all of their connections, all of the things that make a community, their doctors, the places where they shop. All of those were gone in an instant. And I think that probably really wasn't even the worst part. I think the worst part is they woke up one morning and had a few minutes to grab a few things and get in the car and escape with their lives. So it's just a lot of trauma. And I'm really, really proud of the Alliance staff and my staff for being there and for knowing that they wanted to help like everybody else. Everybody was in the world really was reaching out to help. But we had a unique opportunity to actually work with people directly. And it was difficult. We were meeting with people in smoke-filled shelters, working very long hours, and it was very hard. And there was just a big heavy weight over the community. But we had the opportunity to help them bear that weight and to help them start to get their lives back on track. So that's what I wanted to thank both staffs and everybody else who helped us. We had folks who came up from other workforce boards, from surrounding workforce boards, Golden Sierra, North Central Counties Consortium, North Bay Alliance. We had other volunteers who came in. I'm sorry if we forget anybody, but it was just a great outpouring. And I was thinking about that yesterday when Bob, at the plenary yesterday afternoon, when Bob was asking people to raise their hand if they had helped somebody. And I think when you think about all the ways that we help, everybody in this room helps people every day. These are, when Bob said how many have helped save a life, I mean, literally, I think in many cases, if it's not a literal life, it's we play such an important role, and it's such important work that I think it's important that we take a moment to acknowledge and to celebrate our contribution to our communities. So to me, that's the special part of this award, and I'd just like to again thank all of the staff and people who helped on CWA for this award.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to go over just a little bit of some statistics and also show a little bit of what we dealt with. And again, I echo Michael's comments to our team, both the AFWD team, which a lot of them are here today, and the NORTEC team as well. It was amazing to see what we did and how quickly we were able to respond. So I'm going to kind of go over a few of the statistics with you guys up here on the screen, just so you can kind of see what we dealt with. We had 85 fatalities, and at one point that was over 400 people were missing, and you can only imagine. We had a lot of our staff that we could not find on the day of the fire, which was awful feeling for me. We also had a lot of our team members that lost their home, but the very next day they were at work helping those in need. The fire displaced about 50,000 people. It burned about 19,000 homes and businesses. It's the largest, as Michael had mentioned, and Bob, the largest disaster in California's history, and it's also now the largest hazardous waste cleanup in the state of California. Michael talked a little bit about those that showed support, that called us, said, what can we do? I've listed those up here, and without them, we couldn't have done this. We were outnumbered from a staffing perspective. We had thousands and thousands of people coming through our centers. And so you can see those entities that called us, called Michael, and said, what do you need? They sent us staff so that we could be able to serve those that were in the greatest need. A couple pictures, as Bob said, I can't even, the pictures do not do justice in terms of what you actually see on the ground. And when Bob, we were in the car, he just couldn't believe it. So I'm going to show you what it looked like from the air. This is an actual aerial photo of the day of the fire. The next picture, this is what it looked like on the ground. This is the famous Honey Run Bridge. It's built in 1886. It's on the National Historic list, and it burned. And there's a lot of effort right now to get that rebuilt. This is the hospital. And I will put the top photo, you can't really see it, it's kind of hard to see, but there's flames in the back. They were trying to evacuate all the patients that were at that hospital that morning. The other thing, this happened really fast. This fire moved through really, really quickly. What you see here are the abandoned cars that were left on the road where people left their cars and they just got out and ran because they could not. The fire was that quick, came through that quickly. The photo there with the CHP, you can see the power lines. The winds were horrific that day. And that's a picture of the power lines just to show you the magnitude of the wind that came through there. So this is what happened. That was a couple days after the fire. These are what the neighborhoods look like. And you can go street by street by street, and this is pretty much what you see. This is one of the shopping centers that Michael and Bob talked about, burned to the ground. This is Paradise Elementary School. About 4,500 kids were displaced. And that's the school before and the school after. This is really cool. Bob got to see these when we went on our tour. This is an artist from LA. Had a friend up in Paradise. And he came up and on different buildings that were still standing. This was a fireplace. He actually did murals, so they were all over the community. It was really something to see out of the ashes, and some beautiful art was done. This is our Chico FEMA. This is where folks came. Our staff worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for months serving people. They had one in Chico and they had one in Oroville. This is the top 2 pictures of our Chico Center. Most of these people didn't have anything when they fled their homes. So we had water, we had hot coffee, we had toothbrushes, we had just essentials because they didn't have it. On the bottom, you'll see in their FEMA center, you couldn't have food. So they were there for hours without food. So we had a local youth soccer club put together healthy snacks for kids. Gary, he's coloring with a little girl trying to keep her mind off of what had just happened. Here we have Nortec staff, Andrea Campos. She's at the Business Recovery Assistance Center. We were working with our businesses and our SBA partners, trying to help them. The middle picture is the Children's Center. I can't tell you how heartbreaking it was to see these little kids, but we had teachers that had just lost everything and set up an art center inside the Disaster Recovery Center to help the kids. And there's just some photos of our staff there helping. Okay, this is the point in time when we like to recognize our teams. This is one of my mottos: tough times don't last, tough teams do. And this team was awesome. We've got a lot of them here today. We have a lot back home. And if they're watching on Facebook Live right now, hello everybody. Go ahead. This is our motto at AFWD in Nortec. And when Bob called and said, hey, guess what? And I said, well, this is just what we do, because that's what we do. This is the View Strong logo. You see this all over up north. And with that, we want to invite our teams up here to receive this award.
Will the staff from Nortec and the Alliance for Workforce Development please join us on stage? Everybody, Let's welcome the staff that are working to rebuild an entire community. Yes, you guys deserve it. I have to say just one more thing. Tracy and Mike have been sharing, and Christine have been sharing a lot of stories about all the great work that you all have been doing. And I know some of you lost not only your family's home, but your own home, but still showed up for work every single day to do what we do. So I'm very proud to give each of your organizations this award, and I just want to read it. It says 2019 CWA's Workforce Development Professional is presented to the NORTEC. Above and beyond, the call of duty is only a phrase, but you have given it new meaning. That's the paparazzi bag. Okay, one without me, take some without me. All right, thank you all very, very much. Okay. Now,